It's E'mon Lauren like Polo, the coldest living chica, the rep the go flow, that goals got brains, to match the quote, the mother of the Hoodwives, off this the fold. Tell me what your thought juice is, cause I bring the bottles and the truth is I'ma lay it out for all the fools here. I make it clear, 100-proof pit, ayy. Princess E money, time to cash out. No commando for the shortest hard clips out. Do a little dance, shake a little ass. I'm just tryna ask, what's your thought juice? Dun dun dun.
Yes! What is up, everybody? It's your girl / boy, E'mon Lauren like Polo, BlkHoneyBun's bitch. I'm so excited for this episode. You all are here for another episode of the Real Hoodwives Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories, season 4, episode 6, with my absolute favorite couple in the entire world. Honestly, the sexiest couple I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Both of these people are fine as hell, smart as fuck, just like brilliant ass people. In case you didn't know, this is the Real Hoodwives Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories, brought to you by BlkHoneyBun Productions in association with Rise Above and Prosper. Hi, Carlo. And we want to give a very big special thank you to the Let Us Breathe Collective for the breathing room in this space. And these two beautiful folks really curated this amazing space that we have a set out of. Damon and Jennifer. Wait, let me get some applause going for y'all. Oh. Yes, get some noise for Damon and Jennifer, everybody. Please feel free to give us an introduction, you know, who you are, what you do, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, I'll go first. My name is Jennifer. She, her pronouns. I've done many different things. I've lived many different lives. But currently, I'm the co-director of this space, the Breathing Room, our Southside Liberation Oases. I also teach yoga occasionally. That's kind of where I'm bopping around right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's also a graphic designer and does many other educator and many other things, but we'll get to that later.
Yes.
And me?
Yes.
What's up, y'all? I'm Damon, movement builder, media maker, performing artist from the South Side of Chicago, a co-founder of the Let Us Breathe Collective and the Breathing Room Space, which has been an honor of my life. A co-host of Ergo and Ergo Media, Ergo Radio and podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, where we document and have conversations with different movement and cultural workers, reshaping the culture of our world and city for the more liberatory and creative. Also hip-hop performing artist, educator, I do some other things. I hang out, I be around.
Yes.
You know. Also, this cool one's partner.
Yes. My first access to interview, or like one of my first interviews, honestly, was with Damon for Ergo Radio when I was titled Chicago's First Youth Laureate.
Yep.
And that was honestly kind of my first interview.
Wow.
But it's been a real honor just to see you grow in radio, in media, and really just continuing positive reflections of Black people in media. And, you know, I'm really happy to continue that with you.
Yeah.
To kind of have this
I'm so proud of you, and congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really excited to talk to y'all. Can y'all tell me a little bit about how this space started, how the space came about, and also like what was like just the intention of like creating a space like this? Because I think it's so necessary, it's so important. One, it's very beautiful for me because I was stressing about finding a set, and we were talking. He was like, "Oh, you could just use the breathing room." I was like, "It's a win-win. It takes a village. It takes a wonderful village." And I am so honored to include you all in every single post because I really think that this space is like necessary. Whenever a guest comes here, they be like, "Oh, y'all tucked away, huh? It's a little sanctuary, huh?" Like it really truly is. And how did that dream like come about?
Yeah, I mean, it really is an extension of the work. And so the Let Us Breathe Collective is a Black liberatory organization that's in like the context of the larger like movement for Black Lives ecosystem to like kind of frame it. So we as an organization came into existence in 2014 in resistance to state violence and particularly police killing Black people. And how do we also harness and support the resistance and liberation and healing and grief work that happens in response to these oppressive traumas that our people endure. And so we came into existence through the supporting the Ferguson Uprising. And from that, those of us who participated in that were transformed, and what was a moment or an initiative became a collective and an organization, and we brought that creative resistance work back home to Chicago. And as we were, really throwing down, contesting power in some really intense ways, it was the need for space to regenerate and heal and build collective consciousness with our people, but also to be more accessible and to invite our community in, because it is important that as we build these historic movements that have been happening for the last decade, that we're moving with our people. And so the Breathing Room is an extension of an event that was intended to do just that started on the west side in North Lawndale. We got displaced from that, and at the same time, there was an opportunity to steward, rehabilitate, repair, and activate this space. And so the intention, as an extension really of some work we did called Freedom Square, which was a 6-week activation and encampment. And so coming out of what does it feel like to throw down and live and build with our people, and not only just name the harms, but work to embody the systems that we actually need to create. And so what does it look like to do that with walls and with plumbing and with electricity and with Wi-Fi, and to then be a space for performance, for creativity, for gathering, for meetings, for strategizing, for rehearsal, for art build, for recording, for apothecary, for farming, for cooking, for nurturing, for child raising, for distributing food and clothes, all as a way to build power and to try to emerge the world that we need.
I love that. And Jen, with you doing yoga and just doing a lot of we were talking about it, how you define it as just earth work, right? Or earthly medicine, holistic things. How does that fold into, a vision that you have for this space, or how you utilize your ancestral practices to build a new community? Especially when I think that Black people a lot of Black people try to hold themselves away from the idea of manifestation or spiritual work or things like that, but don't really realize that political power also puts a lot of spells on Black people. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think a lot of
No, I got you, darling.
my clothes. I think a lot of what this space offers is a testament to my journey with my ancestors. And I think back in 2014, my relationship with that realm was pretty much non-existent. And I think just through the space that this organization and through just our work has given me to access myself, it's really supported me in being able to identify that as a practice that is essential to my life and to living for me.
I love that. I really have a very impactful conversation that I want to have with y'all, and I feel like y'all are the perfect people to have it on. I was really inspired by dissecting the dialogue that I want to have with y'all based off of Samira Truth's episode, and we really tackled a lot of things, but I think that this is the real Hoodwives Chicago. I would prefer to talk about nuance, and I think that you all are the perfect people to really just give us some answers that Black people and Black people can fuck with, and Black people can really understand what reimagining a world looks like when we are kind of trapped in a world that is honestly no escaping from, so to speak. But before we get into that, because I know it's gonna get deep and it's gonna get fun and freaky, I got you. Before I forget, this is a segment called wait, Mike. Okay, before I forget, this is a segment called "What's Your Thought Juice?" Dun-dun-dun. Wait. All right. What's happening, folks? I'm Black the bartender, and welcome to the Pink Polo, where we juice your thoughts. What do you have, huh? What? Wait, slow down. Not all at once, folks. All right. So let's start off with the gentleman. For the gentleman, what we have, we're gonna start off with some nice Ray and Nephew. Now this is an international import, so don't go sneaking it in through your butt or do whatever you decide, all right? All right, we want to start off with a nice steady pour. Give it a nice easy pour. Or straight up so that it can really get out there. We want to get it nice and steady, but not too much, all right? Pour it in some nice merchandise, preferably one that you can get at your local bartender, all right? Give it a nice mix with a tropical drink, pop the bottle. Give it a nice steady pour, and there you have it. Serve it up on a coaster, serve it up neat, and there you have it. The Damon nephew, or in other words, Damon Williams Thought Juice. First, you want to start off with some chamomile and lavender tea. Some chamomile and lavender tea. Pop the bag, pop the pussy. Do what you gotta do. Then you want to pour you some hot water in there. Make it hot, just like all of your decisions at the Pink Polo. Now you can leave it as is if you like, but here at the Pink Polo, we always talk over here, all right? Pour it up with some nice whiskey. Some nice whiskey. Give it a nice, steady, easy pour. All right? All right. Next, you want to serve it up on a coaster. Serve it up neat. And there you have it. Jennifer's Toddy. Or in other words, Jennifer's Thought Juice. Cheers to the happy couple. You both folks enjoy that. All right?
A little dance, shake a little ass. I'm just trying to ask, what's your thought juice? Dun dun dun.
Before I forget, what is you all's thought juice?
What we going right now?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, at first it was chamomile tea. Then on the way here, I'm like, I might add a little bit of whiskey to it. So it's like a little hot toddy. Yeah.
Hot toddy. Yeah. And Damon, what you got?
So I'm working with...
Because Damon...
I'm working with the Ray and Nephew with pineapple juice. Ray and Nephew is a Jamaican rum. And so I appreciate you for finding... It's not easy to get stateside.
It's not easy to find.
And so it's like, yeah, I first experienced it when I was in London. And
You wasn't in London?
I did go to London one time. And when I did that one time, I had some Ray and Nephew. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is popping. And so whenever I have access to it, it's like the go-to rum experience for me.
I love it. It really is good. Can you actually pass me my drink?
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Thank you. Can I have a splash of cran grape?
You want some cran grape with some Everfresh?
Yeah, that was all the cran grape. I was going to get some ocean spray.
Yeah.
But that was a big-ass jug.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I was like, Everfresh is really good. Oh, look at that.
The color.
Look at that.
Looks like
It matches the set.
It does match the set. Y'all understand the color palette. They said I'm on Zoom or
Xenon.
Xenon.
School days.
Zoom.
School days.
Zoom.
Yeah. I love that.
Supernova girl.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
How's the hot toddy working for you? And I gave you the wifey
It's
mug.
hot toddying. It's perfect.
Okay. I really want to, Mike. Let me see if this is cool. Let me see. Mike.
Let me go get you.
Maybe. Mike. I just want you to be comfortable. Mic check 1 2. I think that's cool. I just can't move around too much.
If it happens again, I'm gonna go get it.
I appreciate that because we need I always need a black man to make a sound decision for me. I do. Okay. Like, I don't know about you, but like, yeah. If that nigga, my nigga, like told me what to do, I would fucking listen because, I'm a subby little bitch.
Okay.
From time to time.
Okay.
Most of the time.
All right.
But like, I think because I move around throughout the world with so much dominance that I often look for like guidance and things like that. Okay. I know that like roles isn't something that's like really praised or really like, honestly, like, it's kind of like, what the fuck is a role? Especially in like modern day relationships. But do you all like find yourselves falling into roles that work for you or creating roles that work for you all in your relationship?
Yeah, I think, I feel like when I think about how we've discussed roles in our relationship, it hasn't really... Oh.
No, I got you. Do you want me to pull it closer to you?
Sure.
Just say it, just type.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's never been like a major like conversation now that I'm thinking about it, and it's something that we kind of like fluidly stepped into. I feel like I'm definitely more of like the structure person, and orient around those things. And definitely the more like tender person in our relationship. I feel like more tender, more sensitive.
Okay.
And like, yeah, I need more tenderness.
She said your ass is mean.
No. Like I'm more tender. Like I'm
more like
softer
sensitive,
and
the
like
fragility of
not fragility, but
Okay,
like
that's maybe not the best word.
soft,
Okay, word. Now I get what you're saying.
tender. But yeah, those are a couple that are coming to mind.
I think when you ask that question, I think of something I heard the Cool Kids say one time. I think Chuck English from the Cool Kids said of like, you don't. What makes good collaboration or partnership is not necessarily agreeing on what's hot, but having a base understanding of what's whack. And so I think like we have like, it's an unspoken understanding of what about the patriarchal gender construct is whack. That like there's a base level of whackness that's not even entering the door. And so within that, for me, I try to like, my intention is to like offer kind of the best of both worlds of like the beneficial offerings that come with traditional notions of masculinity. I try to give as much as I can, and then also subvert or not expect the privileges or the domination that comes in play. So like, I don't know, like, yeah, you should both pay for the meal, but also not like expect that then I'm now the say so, right? Like I should both pay and shut up. It's kind of like the way to simplify or give like an example.
Put that on a shirt.
I should both pay and shut up. I really love that because I think what really inspired me to ask that question is, and Jen, like if you will like receive it as a compliment, right? Like a hood wife, right? And the idea of like who receives, you know, a man and make sure that they're like good, make sure that they're okay, right? And that's not the only basic definition of like a hood wife, right? But I think in the idea of like how the oppressed becomes the oppressor, right? So like the oppression that's put onto black men is like equally put onto black women and like that ongoing cycle, right? And I think that what really inspired me in creating Hood Wife is like, no, like why are you shitting on me? Like I am a matriarch of the hood. I am taking care of you, several people, cooking food for y'all, being a candy lady for the block, you know, maybe a TT to like, you know, the block's children and things like that. And I think that is like kind of a position that is not asked to put on, but that is like taken with like pride and ownership, right? And so in the idea of like roles, so to speak, right? I'm always inspired about like the idea of like a kept woman, because like to me, I wholeheartedly believe black women shouldn't work a day in their motherfucking life. Right. And I really do believe that. And if it's like, oh, I have someone who is providing for me and like all I have to do is just like, you know, contribute in the ways in that I naturally contribute, because we know that no black woman is mediocre, but I do believe that black women deserve space for mediocrity. And we know that it's just like not in our blood. Like it's nothing that we can do that's like, oh, I'm just, oh, you know, you know? So to that, I think, you know, I love y'all's relationships. I think that y'all relationship just like speaks on balance a little bit.
I'm sorry, was there a question in there?
No, it wasn't necessarily.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I was just saying a comment to that because I'm wondering, like, what does it feel like to be provided for in ways that feel comfortable, and that also doesn't feel like old, like you know, old, yes, restricted type of ways, type of thing.
Yeah, you know, I think at a basic level, Damon is probably the first man that I felt safe with. And I'm still learning, like, and exploring, like, what that means. Like, for me, just as someone who's in a body with intersecting oppressed identities, and, you know, just what we carry. But, yeah, I think, like, that's kind of what settles in my body first, of just like, I can count on this person to like, you know, really ensure that my safety and like well-being is maintained. And I can count on them to really be there for me in moments of like emotional turbulence or intensity or unease. And, you know, outside of just like the material things too, of like, I gotta pay no rent, I gotta pay no bills, really, for real. Like, that's great.
Good
too.
for fucking you. That's
awesome.
Carlo, edit an applause in that, right fucking there. Edit an applause in that. I mean, I honestly think that that's beautiful.
Yeah, and, you know, since we have been together, I think, you know, that has been Damon's like goal, is to provide that for me. And I think it's coming from like a legacy of just like that being an intentional position. But also at the same time, I think in the way that he shows up in our relationship and for me is like a really deep, like counteracting, like balance to kind of this like traditional male roles in relationships. And it's a choice, like every day, I think, actively. Yeah, so it feels really good to be provided for, and I think I'm really still learning what it means to like settle into that feeling in my body and like be present with it. But yeah, it's been a ride.
Oh my God. I just love watching y'all look at each other. I really do love watching y'all look, and I hope I didn't create no offense in my line of questioning.
No.
But honestly, like, every real nigga I know, his woman don't have to fucking work. Like, and that's on some real fucking shit. Like, and I really applaud that, and I really do think that that's beautiful, and I really hope that you like hold it and receive it as a compliment, because like whatever you do, whatever you decide to do is gonna work. But you know, look at what you're doing for the breathing room. Like, I don't know if y'all know this, but Jen been holding me down this whole
a lot of people.
This whole process, just checking on me, opening up the space for me, bringing me flowers, you know, just making sure the heat isn't too hot, and just, you know, really opening the space and being the front of communication for me. And I think that that is what it's about. Like, when you give a woman room to just space, you know, you'll find that she like takes on a lot more responsibilities, or that she'll feed more than just like you or herself and other people around. Yeah. Did you want to say something?
No, I mean, I feel what you're saying, and like, for me, I don't want to make it like all heady or big wordy, right? But like, in just the way you look at Twitter or the discourse, the way we talk about relationships, it's always filtered through capitalism.
Yes.
Right? And so even the notion of like breadwinner or household, or like, you know, the way we talk about human relationship, nobody should pay bills. Nobody should pay rent, right? So like at a basic level, if you can create that for anybody, right? Like, that is liberation. That is freedom from capitalism. So that, and then secondarily, like, no, actually primarily, the second thing first, like, for our relationship and for the things that like we're discussing, yes, Black men go through a lot, and I have experienced, and I feel like just about as much as anybody have studied the plight of Black men and get it. But it's really important that we don't make false equivalencies. And like, patriarchy is a corrosive, destructive, like genocidal force in our personal relationships, but collectively. And like, if we show up without understanding that, right, like it's like fascism at a basic level. Like,
what is fascism?
Fascism is basically bullshit. Like, at a basic level, you know, like, fascism is we are going to enslave Black people. Fascism is we are going to destroy indigenous lands.
So just
fascism
like white people's way
is
of
we're going
thinking.
to eradicate the Jews. Fascism is we're going to eradicate trans people. Fascism is we are not going to allow critical race theory. Fascism is we are going to dominate women for centuries. You know?
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the big picture. And then in our household or in our life, or in trying to be cute or trying to be, like, we have to understand, similar to interacting with white people, racism is interacting with all of that, and you got to be counteracting it, like, in relationship between assign men and women, cis men and women, or whatever relationship to the binary, when interacting with gender, we have to understand that like patriarchy is death making. And so in order to actually have love, in order to actually have joy, in order to actually make sense of these conversations, that needs to be like the one-on-one. And I think that is what has allowed me to show up in our relationship in a way that I'm proud of and be able to like kind of do the things we talking about.
Yeah, I'm really proud of y'all. I know that, especially witnessing.
No more big words from me. That's my last.
No, fuck it. Let the big words fucking ride.
Nah, man, I do this. It's nighttime. We got the thought juice.
We do got the thought juice.
I'm talking about capitalism everywhere. This is supposed to be the fun show.
I do feel you.
But
I do feel you. No, I do really receive that, but I do think it's so important to hear niggas talk about it like on like a porch
it needs
level,
to be said
on a porch
times.
Level playing field, right? Because like a bunch of niggas in Inglewood, capitalism, I presume capitalism ain't coming out their fucking mouth at all.
Matter of fact, let me put it more porch level. If you want to have a good relationship with women, you have to be addressing patriarchy. If you want to have a good relationship with yourself as a man, you have to be addressing it. And so, like, all the bullshit aside, like, if you put that at the front, you will be a healthier person. And like the whole nice guy versus alpha male, like bullshit conversation.
I hate that.
It's killing us.
Fucking shit.
And like, unless you get down with the thing, like you're gonna be on the wrong side of everything, and your life's gonna suck. So if you just, even from a selfish standpoint, like feminism can help you. All right.
No, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go there because I really do have something serious. Honestly, a topic that I want to talk to y'all about that's personally affected my life. And before we get to that, I want to know what's y'all love story? Like, how did y'all meet? Like,
I feel like he always tells it the best.
He tells it.
You want to try?
Damon is a storyteller.
I would
You want to try?
love.
I'm talking a lot. You want to try? I can do it, but you want to...
Come on, Jan.
This is another role in our relationship.
See how the roles play? Yeah. You want to subvert the role?
I can try, and then you can hop in and like
get in
offer
there.
anything that you want. Okay, so it's
Mic.
probably like, is my mic okay?
Yes,
Am
your
I
mic.
okay like this? Okay. So any like millennial love story begins on social media these days. And so that's where it started. Damon followed me on social media, Instagram and Twitter. I was active on Twitter back in my college days. Yeah, and he had been following me probably since like December of the year we met, maybe before that. And would just like really strategically like my things and like my thoughts, particularly as it pertains just like patriarchy, feminism, and someone's little rants I would get onto.
You was going crazy, huh?
It was just college thoughts. But
My phone?
that's a phone.
Where's that mine?
Yeah, I don't even have my phone on me.
Pardon me, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I heard something.
Quiet on set.
My phone's, your phone's not ever on loud.
Can you look at my pocket right here?
Yeah, it should be. Nah, my phone.
You feel my phone in there?
Yeah, there's something going on.
Oh no, that's not my phone, I don't think. Oh. It was my fucking phone. Don't fucking text me. I'm on fucking set right now. My fault, y'all. Please pardon me.
You're good.
So you was going ham and cussing white people out on Twitter.
Basically.
Yes.
But the real, mostly niggas. But the real game was Instagram because, there was this strategy that he would follow. You post a picture, you get likes, they flood in. But he would wait a couple days, maybe even like a week sometimes, and would like maybe 2 to 3 of my pictures. This is back when I was actually posting on Instagram frequently and wanted to be perceived. But he would like 2, 3 pictures in a row. So he would come through my notifications at a different time than other people would. And so I guess his thought would stand out among the crowd. And so Fast forward to summer of 2014. I just finished my junior year of college. I'm coming back home, just ready to hit the town, ready to just be a hot girl, ready to, ride in the car with my hair in the wind and fuck some shit up. And so it's literally like beginning of summer, June 14th to be exact. During the day, I had met up with my friend Dominique.
Shout out to Nick James, an OG Hoodwife.
And we went to the Puerto Rican parade, I believe. We got there, had some little fun. We're on the bus right back, and we started talking about this dude named Damon. So started rapping about him, do. It was cute. I said, yeah, he's cute, do. End of the conversation. Then I ended up linking up with her later that night, and we went to a party. Little house party on the west side. Took the train over there, talked about him again, mentioned again. But then we got to the house party. It was cute, I was looking cute. I had my jeans on, a little black tank top. I had my hair down, dancing by the sink with my drink. And so Damon comes. He's with a couple friends. And I'm kind of by the entrance of this little house party. And he just comes in and introduced himself. Like, hey, I'm Damon. I know you from Instagram, da-da-da-da-da. And then he just walked away. Shook my hand, whatever, and then walked away. But have you ever met a nigga at a party who just comes, introduces himself to you, and then walks away?
No. But I would think something of it. I'm like, all right, player ass.
I was caught off guard.
Right.
And was like, what?
You tried to give her out. You want to do too much.
And then I feel like I get cloudy after this.
Okay.
My details. So I feel like
Okay, I can pick it up from there.
you can step in.
I can even plug in where I'm coming from in some of this.
It's the real Hawaii, Chicago.
Because it had been at least a year of following, right? So I had wanted to catch her the summer before.
Right.
But, whatever. And so I just graduated from school. So I'm also hitting the town.
With the hair in your wind.
Hair in the wind, fresh lineup. I'm ready for the streets. Matter of fact, that day, went to the barbershop. Tell my, you kick with your barber, you smoke whatever. Me and my barber had a good relationship. Hook me up. I think I'm trying to find me something tonight. This move off of the bus. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Put it out there, right? So probably the same time I heard Dominique talking.
This is so exciting.
And so my whole thing with the Instagram and the social media is okay, from just listening to what my community says, probably shouldn't jump in DMs of somebody you don't know.
Facts.
Somebody you've not met in person.
Facts.
So the goal is to be on radar, catch you, because we know the same people, introduce, and then I can double back around. And there's no need to be thirsty. Right? So, pull up. I'm at the party early. It's me. Shout out John Doe. Shout out Sydney. We pull up. You know what I'm saying? We there. And it's I think we had to go get some Swishers or something. It's back when we still smoke Swishers. So we had to go to the gas station. So I was there
That
early.
was a fucking era. Leave the Swishers alone.
Put them
down.
I had to go get some White House for the party. So had the Captain Morgan. Didn't have no blunts. Oh, we thought it was going to be blunts here. We go get the White House. I'm like, man.
White House.
I'm anxious to get back because it's I feel it. I got my fresh line and I'm ready for this. So then when I walk back in, now it's busting. The party went from kind of slight to overcrowded. So now I'm walking through. Instantly, I'm ready for this.
I got my haircut for you, shorty.
So I come up with the handshake. Hey, my name is Damon. You might recognize me, blah, blah, blah.
Just that tone too, just like that.
I'm glad.
That's hot. That's so hot.
Now that we know each other a lot, I hope to, talk to you soon. Blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you.
Right.
I'm not sweating you. Boom. Love. We also, I know everybody, so now I'm going to go say my what's ups. I've now introduced myself in my mind.
And you know I'm here.
You know I'm here.
You know I'm here.
And in my mind now, I've not been, the weirdo creep game is over. We've crossed that line.
So I'm in your DMs.
We've met each other. Exactly. My mind now, I'm not going to sweat you. The DM is coming.
It's coming.
Within
It's
36
coming.
hours. You got 18 to 36 smooth hours before it's here.
36 hours is a good ass window, though.
18 to 36.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm prepared.
Okay.
So boom, I'm in the hallway. About 12 to 15 minutes later, her and Dominique pull back up. And Dominique's like, dang.
Damn it. That's
I want you to be my friend. I think you do.
That is literally how Dominique talks.
So it's an interesting, exciting, but conflicting feeling for me in this moment because it's like, oh, this is juice. I'm getting the plug, but also I just did my whole introduction move.
Right.
And she's got to act like that didn't happen.
So you're in.
I was
you're
also
in
a little drunk. So
I mean, you was two-stepping at the sink. Like, okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'm super in because it feels like y'all. Now I'm getting the sense of, oh, this not new for y'all. Which now I'm like, oh God, I thought this was just in my dreams. And so the introduction happens. I'm a little salty that my move might not have landed, but now we exchange numbers. And now I'm like, oh, fuck the DM.
Yeah.
The DM wants to get the number. I'm gone. Now we at the 12
I'm
to
finna
16
text
hour.
you.
You can't finna get this text tomorrow. What's good?
You get an emoji by your name.
So now I'm great. I've succeeded at partying.
Yes.
This is the first 30 minutes. The party is a W for me. Now I'm chilling. Let's drink. Let's smoke. I got the number. I'm gone.
I'm pulling back up to my barber tomorrow.
To let them know. And so the way it is, like I see her kind of like walk past me and like go outside. I'm over on like a little wall corner, and I think she should see me, but she's moving as if she didn't. So I'm like, okay, I'm moving smooth. You know, it's playing. I don't gotta sweat you. Do you? Do. And so then I get a text like 7 minutes later, like, where you at? I'm right here. I just saw you walk by.
And I was struggling to send that text, I promise you, for like 10 to 15 minutes. There was absolutely no service in that house with all those people.
That's why you went outside.
It's something about a party that just ruins
That's probably exactly why I went outside, to make sure I sent that text.
And so, so I'm like, okay, boom. Now it's action. So she come back, and now we're in uncharted territory. Now we are full-fledged caking in this party. Oh, yeah. This is public displays of
on the first time.
Yeah, not really like juking. You know, there's juking happening around. It's like, oh, is that where we about to go? It's like, no, we're kind of like
making
talking.
out. Oh, you're talking. Oh,
no,
okay.
not making out. Talking close, intimate little touches, little like in the zone.
Neck kisses.
You neck kissing at a
I got a
party?
neck kiss. I'm like, oh
yeah, I went there.
I'm in here.
I mean, fuck a makeout. I feel like the neck kiss is like next level. It's like y'all damn near finna see something.
Yeah. And so then, boom, we basically caking this party for a few minutes, a few hours. It shut down. There's messiness afoot. There are other people clocking us.
Yeah.
That if this wasn't the show, we could talk
Haters.
about.
We can bleep them out, maybe.
No, we could definitely bleep him out. Carlos.
We're not gonna leave messy.
We don't gotta be messy. We'll give you the D's.
Yes.
I know the D's, but I'll bleep the fucking name out.
There's multiple deets.
We'll let it rock.
And so as those deets kind of flare out, it's now, you need a ride home. Oh, bet money. If there's anything I do is give rides home.
Give rides home.
I'm a ride homer. The people I don't like. You know what I'm saying? So like, this time we go. Come on.
That's extreme. I'm like, walk your ass to the bus.
Oh, ride home is that's in my bag. That's what I do.
Oh my god.
So
Baby, can I have a ride home? Oh my
so
god.
we do the ride home. Homie John Doe's the back, Sears in the back. So you know, there's women in the car too. So you know, it's friends. Homies,
It's comfortable.
It's comfortable. And so John Doe has the aux.
I'm sorry, I just got the thought of bleeping that name out.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, we can do that.
No, we can do it. It's okay.
So homie has the aux.
Yes.
All of previous bleeps. Homie has the aux, and they put on Prototype, Andre 3000.
Yes.
I think I'm in love.
Yes.
So
Oh my
little
god.
pinkies do a
Oh
little-
my god.
you did. So now I'm like, oh, it's over with.
That's beautiful.
And then we're getting close, and then she's like, okay, you can just drop me off by the red line.
Whoa. Egregious ass statement, short.
I just met this man.
but in whole
I did
defense,
not
I
want
wanna
him
make sure
to
I'm
drop
saying-
me off at my house.
I understand. But it's like 3 a.m.
Nigga, you just kissed my neck at a party.
I am not about to just leave you in an alley, basically.
But if I was your homegirl, I would have been like, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
Damon, take her the fuck
Yeah, that's
home.
what happened. We were like, no, that's not happening. And so, we then go on a date 2 days later. And
What was the date?
we drank some wine by the lake and then went and had Thai food.
Oh,
And don't neither of us even like Thai food.
Indian food. It was Indian
It
food.
was Indian
Okay.
food? It was Indian food. You're right. Indian food. We not even Indian food eaters like that. We was trying to pretend to be.
It was
I mean, some
fancy.
good butter chicken. That's good
That's probably what
basmati.
we had too.
Yeah, and then this could sound like a little much, but
It wasn't love bombing.
it was accurate.
What it
It
might
was
sound
like
like,
because we had been talking. I was like, in the middle of a conversation, it was kind of happening. I was like, oh, I think I'm falling in love with you.
Really?
Yeah.
On your first date?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So June 14th is the day we met, and we say we've been together since then.
Hell yeah, that's 5 days before Juneteenth. Talk about Black Revolution.
And so then we had our commitment ceremony 7 years to the day, June 14th, 2021.
Oh my God.
There's a reason for the 7 years too. I don't know if you want to explain that.
Wait, y'all's anniversary is in June?
9 years. 9 years in June.
Is this when the episode comes out? Oh no. Q is June. Y'all's July.
Okay.
But we close. We close.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like, I'm hitting on
our
something.
commitment ceremony was 7 years today because colloquially, this ain't like actually science. But what they say is like your whole body generates over 7 years, like all the cells in your body and your whole bone structure. So like we became new people together. So 7 years is like a symbol of like completion or creating a new life. So
God. That is really fucking beautiful.
that's us.
That is, y'all. Can we give it a, yay! Yeah, Colin would do it. I don't want to risk running but that is a really beautiful story. It honestly brings like tears to my heart to like hear that because I believe in Black love so fucking much. Like so fucking much, so painstakingly much. And I think like the coin toss to that is like, folks be like, oh, fuck niggas, and like, yeah. But I'm like, I have to believe in Black men because I've seen beautiful Black men. I've seen beautiful Black men, Damon being an example, y'all being a beautiful Black couple, so I know it's fucking possible. And media and all that, what really also inspired the show was portrayals of like Black relationships come very whitewashed, very Sex in the City, very Real Housewives of something, Love and Hip Hop of something, right? And if you do want a true Black love story, it always has to be told through a male lens or still through a white production lens. And to have y'all tell y'all's story on the show is significantly important. And I really love y'all. I really love y'all for having love for each other and really giving in. Like, it's hard to give in to fucking love. I could think of 1,000,001 reasons to be like, fuck love. Fuck relationships. Fuck all that shit. But I try not to. I sincerely try not to. Thank you for sharing that story with me. I do want to ask you if we can get a little deep. I know, Damon, you said you didn't want to do big words.
Oh no, I was just joking. We can do
Okay, we'll try to keep them small.
I would say that for me because I be doing too much.
No, it is nighttime, and I do understand you want to get some thought juice action going on. But oh, 1 second. No.
Okay.
No. We cool.
Okay.
We cool.
That's how you wrangling with it.
What is
I'm trying to make sure you have the highest quality.
All right.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if you feel this way, Jen, but for me, I feel like I always felt kind of like a disdain put on me about being like a woman who is like constantly in a relationship. And I was talking to Q last episode. I was like, well, I can honestly mark every place in my life based off who I've been with at that time. And my best friend Jo, she was like, well, you're a mirror, E'mon. You mirror yourself through people. But it just seems like y'all have a very safe love. And of course, I'm like, I'm talking as an outsider, right? But I would presume there was some point where you had to give in and say, this is the commitment I'm going to have, this is what I'm going to do and be in love. Can you talk about what that point was, or if it was a point or a decision that you had to make, if womanhood played a part into that? I know that's a complex thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I don't know if there's like a moment that I can like recognize, but I think in the past, like maybe 3 years of our relationship have really begun to recognize and to just ground in myself and my body that it's a real choice to like evolve with someone and to make the decision to allow someone to see you through like all those depths. And I think for me, I am still learning what it means to like trust that. And I think still like shedding layers of myself that don't trust that just because of the ways of the world and my life. And so that has probably been the most difficult part for me, is like accepting like the love and accepting that it's like real and that it's like solid and that it will stay. And so, you know, I feel like each day I'm kind of rediscovering what it means to like show up in our relationship. And, you know, 3 years ago, I think had to actively and really make the decision to like heal and to show up better in the world as a person, or else we probably couldn't be in relationship to each other. And are still very like actively always asking each other that question, like, what does it mean to be with each other? And like, what does it mean to be with each other in a healthy way? And I don't think you ever just figure that out. Or like, there's not like a moment or like a place where like, we're good. Even though we're good, you know? And so I think learning to trust in that consistent, just like practice and process, is something that has opened me up to possibilities that I didn't know were true or real before. You know, just as someone who didn't really grow up with a love model like present in my life. And so, yeah, I think through this relationship, you know, I don't think there are any coincidences. You know, I think I met Damon for a reason. Yeah. But, you know, like, I think changing and evolving is hard. And we have had to sit with, like, many difficult things. Like, it's not all just, like, roses or just, like, the Instagram posts that, like, people see. It's, like, it's really, like, I go back to the bell hooks definition of just, like, nurturing each other's spiritual growth. And really making a choice to do that every day. And I think in this last cycle and phase of our relationship, I have really had to reckon with how I take care of myself and how it impacts my ability to show up within our dynamic and within our connection, and to just have someone to like who honors that process and holds me through it and moves with so much compassion and grace and understanding. It's been a beautiful journey, and like in coming to this interview and in coming to the podcast was just nervous because like I'm a very private person and like move in that way, and also like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know if that answered your question.
It really did. It really did. And that was actually beautiful. Thank you so much for that. You said something that kind of touched me, or that made me think about, like, when you get with somebody, like, what does it look like to heal yourself alongside with somebody? Because I think it's always professed in relationships, like, if you are in a relationship consistently or never by yourself, like, oh, you don't love yourself, or oh, you need to spend more time with yourself. And sometimes you fall in love and you grow alongside with each other, and you make an active decision to heal yourself with somebody, and that involves work. And I don't think that we often hear the triumph of that. Like sometimes, like,
And it ain't linear.
Right. At all.
yeah, what does that mean? Like it's not linear.
Like it's not a straight line. So it doesn't, oh, I'm healed, and now I'm more healed, and now I'm more healed.
It's like a spiral.
It goes in different directions. It goes up and down, back and forth, in and out. It's very multidimensional, very circular spiral, very curvy.
Yes. And I think that if you can have somebody to support you through that, why the fuck not? Right. I've been trying to heal myself by myself for a long fucking time.
Yeah, healing happens in community and through like collectivity.
Yeah.
Connection.
Can I ask y'all a question to a serious topic, if we can switch up a little bit? Because I really seek answers. So I know that the lens and the work that y'all do seeks to create a world without police, right? And imagine liberation without incarceration and things of the nature. Where I feel stuck with that is I personally believe that the fuck 12 rhetoric has really stained how black women choose to protect themselves in domestic relationships. As a black woman who was in many abusive relationships, you deal with the manipulation of, oh, you're gonna call 12s on a black man, like yada yada yada. That now I have no paper trail. Now I have no evidence. And also as a black woman who has no siblings, who has no brothers, no father, who do I call to protect me in moments of abuse and of violence? And, you know, I was really hoping that y'all can provide some insight to that. I hope it doesn't get too dark or too bleak, but I really wanted to talk to y'all about that.
You can go ahead with it.
Can I have my drink?
No, like you were ready to.
Sure,
like,
no.
Go ahead.
I think my first impulse that you saw me jump into is to affirm what you're naming of the one real need for response, for resource, for intervention, and that particularly when we're talking about abuse of any kind, but specifically gendered or domestic violence and abuse, we have to respect the agency of survivors of that abuse, especially femme and women and non-binary people. So I don't think there's anybody who's really experienced and grounded in abolition movement who is shaming that response. And that rhetoric that you're naming is something else. You know what I'm saying? And most of it is patriarchy and violence. And then back to that, we can call it the big word, fascism, of dominance and oppression. And so I want to, like, in responding to that, bring in a perspective that is not something I'm creating right now, but is sourced from black women. So I want to evoke Miriam Kaba, Andrea Ritchie, Beth Ritchie, Janae Bonsu, and Trina Reynolds Tyler.
Come on.
And it is documented highly that many black women, I wanted to use the word most, but maybe that's not appropriate.
Okay.
But I can say confidently, many black women who've experienced that type of harm see how the police and the state at minimum is inadequate, but often is harmful and perpetuates that harm and brings further abuse to the survivor, brings violence and incarceration to the survivor, in addition to the harm that it brings to a potential perpetrator or commissioner of that harm. So that, the abolitionist tradition that I subscribe to and that informs me is created by survivors of violence and survivors of sexual violence and domestic violence. And it is naming that carceral approaches and carceral feminism does not help us, only reifies the state, and does not center survivors. And so I have a story, but it's like, I don't want to get into it because of the graphic nature of it, but there are countless examples of how the state, the judicial system, puts survivors back in the face of their trauma in ways that are triggering and re-traumatizing
And even more harmful.
and bring violence. And so the answer I have to that is you need someone to call, and the police are not enough. The police are actually the counter answer most of the time. And so we do have inadequate resources, or not enough, insufficient resources, but there are a lot of people doing that work who are actually trained to show up and to address that in a way that heals and protects and centers Black women. So I would start by looking at the work of Survived and Punished.
Survived and Punished is an actual...
Yeah, it is an organization particularly that has centered that oftentimes women who have been harmed end up incarcerated or end up with their life disrupted or destroyed for protecting themselves, for surviving, and that the lineage that I subscribe to names how the police actually endanger women in these instances.
Facts. Did you want to speak on that, Jen?
I'll just add, I think that was really well said. But, you know, I think even before a moment of crisis, a moment of urgency, a moment of harm, I think the way that we think about care and can be so individualized at times. And so when I think about a woman or a person who has experienced domestic violence, there were so many different points of intervention, like before the moment that it happened, where like community and collectivity and like that type of care was needed, as opposed to just like, you were harmed, this crisis happened, and now let's just respond to it, versus like a more proactive lens of care that would center you and like what you need in order to live a full and thriving life.
I really do appreciate that, and I really do receive that. What I mostly appreciate about y'all's responses is that you came with a solution, right? I think that when people, you ask a real ass question, and then it's always like this paraphrased bubble of like, you know, bingo words and things like that. But exact and precise resource is something that is necessary to finish those conversations through. Because don't misunderstand me, I don't want to call 12 on a Black man, right? I really fucking don't. At the same time, what I think is most convoluted about that is that I don't want to call police on a Black man for the sake of his safety, not necessarily for mine. Right. And that doesn't feel safe to me. And what I feel is that, to what you were saying, like, if I had to kill a nigga, I'm gonna go to jail, possibly, more than likely. Somebody could throw a book at my ass, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think that that's justice. I don't think that that's right, and it also doesn't sit well with me to kill somebody. Like, even though and it comes in all these trickle conversations of like, oh, well, what's the value of your life, and how much do you value yourself, and what would you do to protect yourself, and, you know, all these questions that Black women hold with themselves, but nobody's really telling us what the fuck to do besides call police, besides call brothers, or a bunch of niggas that you fucked. And even if you fucked all them niggas, why the fuck should I, like, what's the beef? What's the story that you're not telling me?
Yeah, I mean, so again, to options that are available that are not ideal or not what you would want, I think it's just important to reemphasize that, like, survival is sacred, and your survival is sacred, right? And so, particularly if another person is threatening your sanctity, your body, your autonomy, your agency, your consent, your survival, you have agency and autonomy, and we have to respect that first. So ideally, we would be in a world where calling the police is not the best solution you see, but if that's what you need in your time, particularly as a Black woman or femme for your survival, that is sacred and paramount. But what I will say and what I've experienced is that in the meantime of getting the real resource institutions, we actually have to build these networks within our community. Some people call it pod, or pod mapping.
Geographical pod. Right. That's what Christiana had introduced to me. Shout out to y'all sister, Chris. Yeah.
Another co-founder of the space. And so, you know, we've had experience of a community of responding in real time and what that looks like. And it's hard, and we're not trained to do it, or there's a lot of experience that we don't yet have. But at the beginning, understanding that we should be in each other's lives in that type of way, and that we have that type of collective responsibility. And so, I've seen, and wanted to talk about, I've seen Black men show up and be prepared to be on call or have a rotation of 24-hour support where, all right, we're going to do shifts, and some of us are going to just chill in the car or chill in the kitchen until this shit is figured out, right? And like, these are the informal ways, or the kind of organic or indigenous ways these things pop up, but those type of seeds happening in a fully resourced, really intentional, organized way is, I think, the answer we're hoping towards. So in addition to having the last resource of calling somebody that, one, is going to endanger you, but as you say, is going to endanger somebody more than what you want at that time in the police, how do we actually organize protecting each other? And in the intimate domestic spaces, when we say how do we abolish the police, getting in each other's community to address domestic violence and gender violence is probably the first way and the most important way and the largest way. And it's also not what we talk about when we talk about police or when the news comes. The actual violence that is happening in our community is happening in the homes, not just guns in the street.
Right.
And like, this is actually at the tip or the edge of what we need to be figuring out and practicing and experimenting towards.
Yeah, I do feel that. I really do. What gets me emotional in that is the idea of placing trust in people I don't know. And also figuring, like, why would these people show up for me? They don't know me. I don't come to actions like that. I don't come to council meetings like that. Like, I know why I'm valuable to you, to us, to a space, right? But to just a bunch of niggas who don't know me, it also like makes me kind of scared to ask for help. Like, I couldn't imagine, going through something at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then calling somebody's contact that I got through somebody else and being like, hey, I'm going through this. Can you come and save me? And that it feels petrifying. I'm sorry. Because I'm really trying to figure it out, I really do want to participate in the new world. And I really do want to keep love and community safe. But I'm just, I'm seeking just answers, like, a concrete answer about what to do and who to call. And I think that when a lot of like solutions are created, they're created around, people who have family. They're created around people who have partners and siblings and things like that. But what does those solutions look like to a very singular, particular case? And also with the work that I do, I don't want to feel like I'm going against everything that I learned because I made a phone call or because I have a police report on someone. Like, I'm not, it kind of feels like shame. It feels shame either way. Like, I'm shamed for not having a family, not having a dad, and then it's like I'm also shamed for like trying to protect myself in the way that the world of the system tells me to protect myself, right? So I want to know who should I call, who should I reach out to in those instances or in those cases, and also how can community actually be built if you are not in an actual moving reimaginative community, so to speak.
Well, first, I was just taking time. First, I want to thank you for your vulnerability in this space and naming that. And I also want to honor you because what you're speaking to now, in a different context, you had named to me and spoke to me when I came to you, like in a time of consult, and the thing that I mentioned to you, there was a time where men deployed in a particular situation and were able to intervene, was deeply informed by the things you said to me and recited in organizing that I've done. So I just want to, on your space and platform, like, thank you, because your naming and your vulnerability have, one, challenged men to show up differently in a certain context, and in certain contexts also show up for women in a different way. So I want to thank you. If you have already impacted this, and just want to say that to you. And then I also want to like admit and be humble of, it's not all figured out yet, and the concrete answers that you desire, we do too, and they're not formed yet in the ways that are needed for our reality in our community. And there's like a crisis, an epidemic taking place that has real impact. And so that's the reality of what we're all trying to address and deal with. And then you said about reaching out, the discomfort of reaching out with someone you don't know. And I think ideally that would not be the reality. And it is actually about how do we know each other more and know each other better. And that shouldn't be. And the truth is that's the reality when we call the state of, you never know the police that are coming, right? So that fear that you're naming is very true and actually speaks to why our abolitionist creations are so needed. Because it needs to be folks in your community. It needs to be folks that you can trust. It needs to be folks who are invested in your well-being in an ongoing sense. And so that is what our world is trying to build. And the truth is, like, some of those things are going to take years, decades, generations. And so there's some figuring out that we got to do. But I would look towards some text would be Arrested Development by Beth Ritchie.
We Do This to Free Us.
We Do This Till We Free Us by Miriam Kaba. Fumbling Through Repair, which is a workbook with Miriam Kaba, and the thought juice got me forgetting her collaboration in this moment. But it's actually a workbook on like how we build towards solutions.
Right.
Interrupting Criminalization is a great resource that folks can look. They have so many resources on what we can do and so many examples of experiments. 1 Million Experiments. I do a podcast that is complementary to 1 Million Experiments that talks about how we build these things. And so the truth is, I think there's personal work that we all have to do that, like, within our own comforts and boundaries, but then there's just like, collective building for future generations and, some now that we have to do, but it's not where it needs to be. And that's a sad reality right now.
I want to say thank you for that conversation. Jen, I don't know if you wanted to comment on anything, but I wanted to just say thank you, because I really want to talk to y'all just about that, because it's been blooming in my heart, obviously, for quite some time. But I would really love to help in building that out and figuring that out, like, whatever that looks like. I think it does start with conversations like this, but, tell me what to show up to. I'll show up, what counsels to have. And I do want to just continue just to hold space for Black women and femmes and, non-binary folks, of course, trans folks. But just thank you for that space. And I think that was something I want to touch on. How are y'all feeling? I understand it got serious and impactful.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm chilling. Always anxious, but I'm chilling.
Would you like some more thought juice?
No, I'll be okay.
Okay. This is actually really good ass rum. I'm really fucking happy.
Packs a punch.
Can I ask y'all because through the organizing that y'all have done with each other, I imagine has been impactful on your own individual bodies, but I'm presuming like on the shared body as well. What are some ways that y'all hold each other or, kind of physically heal each other and make each other feel re-seen or reshaped, so to speak?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is sex.
Yeah.
When you said physically. But yeah, I think, food and I think maintaining space together has become a thing. But I don't know. I feel like I don't have good answers to any of these questions.
That was a great answers. I think in addition, we smoke. Mm-hmm. And that,
Too much.
maybe too much, but
Is it? I would
there's
actually love
some-
to smoke.
There's also some ceremony to it, and some ritual to it that we find. And then like
King Spa days.
King Spa days, holiday, we've gotten better at like fitness and like working out and like actually being intentional about our bodies and our physical health together. And that really does have a lot. We fall off all the time, but like once you're in that groove, it really does have a lot of spillover benefits. And then I would say like there's a level of non-sexual, intimate, physical touch and like laying,
Good
and
cuddle.
like body warmth. And, we watch too much damn TV and shows all the time, but like.
I love the way y'all look at each other. I really love the way that y'all look at each other.
Little kisses, little touch. There's a consistency of touch and tenderness and softness. Even in like our hardest times, that is present. That is a real like gift to my life.
Y'all are hot. That wasn't an offer. I do think that you all are just a wonderful and beautiful couple. I would love to ask, what is a hood wife to both of y'all? Or to you and to you?
I feel like I'm always looking at you to answer.
Get up in there.
That's what I say when I'm in the pussy.
I think for me, when I think about hood wife, I think about like womanism and an experience of womanhood that exists outside of what society has created for us. And I also see a hood wife as like someone that very much balances and hops between, like, I don't like using the word feminine and masculine, but kind of like hops in between those two realms and does so very elegantly.
I love that.
And with grace.
So it's wild, right? Because technically we got married, but we don't really believe in the conventions and structures of traditional marriage. But if we're being honest about it, this is my wife and we do stay in the hood. So this
Very literal.
So like it's not an abstract concept.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So first
here.
is this is my first answer. Yeah. But I think a lot about lineage in all things. And so I think about, when I think of hood wife, I think of healing our lineage and that which came before us. And I think of nurturing for our lineage and that which will come after us.
Bars.
And then when I think about the hood, that's also not a abstract concept. That's a very real thing with real lines that were designed by real systems. And so I think of freedom, I think of resilience, I think of resistance, I think of community work, I think of mutual aid, I think of network and kinship. And for me, I found ideologies that align with like kind of how I was made up. Of like, so I found Black queer feminism and womanism and all these intersections. I could put big words to it. But at my basis, my reality and my life and my tribe and my village and my community was always women-led. And that comforts me. And I prefer that in a real way. And so like I think matriarchy gets used as a bad word, so I don't want to use that because it then sounds like a system of women. But when I honor matriarchs, I honor nurturing, I honor feminine leadership and power in space. It it is, you know, it's kind of how my father responded. You know, I'm fortunate to kind of grow up in an environment that was my reality. And so, you know, I think of leadership, I think of strength, but that not being exploited or seen as a given or taken advantage of. And so creating that balance and a little bit of like ease and pampering and like, you know, women and black women we got too many centuries of built it like, you know, put your feet up a little bit, you know what I'm saying, relax a little bit, let's hang out, you know.
A lot of it,
you know. Yeah, so for me, my hood wife, right, like has enabled me to be what I wanted to be. So again, I said it jokingly about like the big words and the talk, and it's actually not that hard to get to being able to say the things that I'm saying. And actually a lot of the men I learned these words with and from have counteracted it. You know what I'm saying? So it's very easy to not embody these principles and ideas. And so for me, this actual physical human relationship has given me a space to like learn and embody, and it not just be something you say or a tweet trying to look, you know, virtue signal or look good. You don't have to tweet just day to day. How do you show up differently relative to this humanity that you are accountable to? And so yeah, I think that's what it looks like for me.
Yeah, I love that. And I really love y'all so very much.
We love you too.
And I really appreciate this interview and this space. I hope it felt good and held for y'all. Y'all really did touch my heart. And y'all continue to touch my heart. It's honestly kind of crazy, like, being able to be here. Oh, wait. That was an ASMR moment. We got to do something with like a whisper or something, because we have a lot of ASMR moments on here. But knowing y'all for all the time I've known y'all for quite some time.
You've known us the whole time.
I have.
Yeah.
I have. So I've been in y'all life for almost 10 years. What does that say? I am. I fucking am. But, no buts. Yes, and you all are beautiful. And I really appreciate just the work that y'all do and who y'all are. And to me, to the Real Hoodwives Chicago, to BlkHoneyBun Productions, to Carlo, to Rise Above Heart. Yeah.
Shout out you.
That's the main man. But like, no, like this, every email that I send to a guest is always an honor to like include y'all in every single thing, because I want people to know that this place exists and that the Real Hoodwives is continuing.
It's Black liberation.
It is, and it's
That's
growing.
why you're doing it here.
It's growing through this, and I hope to have this relationship with y'all for another 10 years. Please tell us where we can find you, how we can support you, what you have going on, anything like that, anything that you would like to
Yes. You can follow Let Us Breathe on Instagram, Let Us Breathe 773. I'm not really active on Twitter, to be honest, because I'm the social media manager, among many other things.
I did a couple of retweets from the page.
We're not active on those. Don't go there for updated information. Let Us Breathe 773 on Instagram. We're starting up Soul Service back in March, and we'll have monthly yoga classes here through October. The garden will be back in season probably starting April. So if you're looking to get your hands into a garden, a community farm, acre of land over here on the south side, just follow us on Instagram. We'll have some volunteer opportunities coming up.
Yeah. And as we're always rebuilding the space and figuring out what this like pandemic reality has meant for us, there will be relaunch of like a bunch of programming over the next couple of years. So like check that out if you want to plug in. Also, shout out to Ergo. Check out that archive of movement work.
Archive. I use the same word for my show.
That was the intention. And
Yes.
so we got hundreds and hundreds of hours of conversation that's been documenting kind of this time over this last decade. So check that out. Ergo everywhere. We're about to build and launch and release a lot of really exciting things. I also make music. I released a single back in the late summer, fall, and hopefully by the time this is out, we'll be about to release a project that I'm really excited about. So check out for that. Yeah, that's enough. Where you at? You at Jennifer? Where you at?
I don't want to give people my
Okay.
personal
She's at Beep. I'm at Damon _ AF.
Sound bleep.
Beep. She's at Beep. And then I'm at Damon _ AF.
We'll put the Let Us Breathe banner under here.
Right here.
Well, I mean, I
Also,
guess
just shout out to her.
I mean,
Shout out to you.
Jennifer also does like creative design, graphic design, yoga,
teaching,
herbology,
all types of stuff.
all of that shit.
With
the Tony Braxton hair.
Facilitation. And just shout out to you just coming here looking cute, looking bad, put on the hot girl pants today. You could stand up and fuck the show up, but we gonna keep it. We gonna keep it cordial.
No free
and just
shows.
stay on the
I'll
couch.
put some money. Come on, give me my Houston. It's a ceiling right there. And then just like, land on my fucking lap. It's Zoom. I'm Z9.
Zoom,
Teleport on this app.
Boom, boom. Supernova girl.
Y'all are incredible. I really hope that y'all felt good about this conversation. It was so deep and so intentional, and I really, truly love it. And again, thank you for the space, man.
Thank you for activating it.
I can't wait to get in the garden. That's honestly what I am so fucking ready for. But we'll talk about that off camera. Well, everybody, you all have tuned in for another episode of The Real Hoodwives Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories. This production was brought to you by BlkHoneyBun Productions in collaboration with Rise Above and Prosper. Shout out to
Carlo.
And we really graciously send a warm in-person thank you to the Let Us Breathe Collective for the breathing room where this fabulous show is the new set of. And this is The Real Hoodwives Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories. Ew.
Fuck me like you really want to. Can you love me like you do your hustle? Can you feed me past the food and grubbing? Can you clean me like it's church on Sunday? In the tubbing, scrub a dubbing, clean the fountain, make a wish and throw 100. I might just blow it. Your heat ain't warming, your mountain's falling. I'll shovel through you. You're feeling salty, can't have no nanny. I'm not your mommy and you's a poppy. You